So the boxing world has always been full of controversy, and it doesn't seem like that'll change anytime soon. The most recent controversy to take place was between Justin Hodges and Paul Gallen. Hodges lost the bout, yet managed to secure a rematch. Why and how? Let us explain. So sit back and relax as we walk you through it. So let's not waste any more time and get right into it. Firstly, what even happened? Controversy, ladies and gentlemen. Controversy happened. So for those of you who don't know, let us give you a quick rundown of what happened. Justin Hodges was handed an L after allegedly losing to Paul Gallen in their bout on Thursday night's fight. Now, this didn't sit well with Hodges, who declared that the decision was wrong, obviously using a bit more profane words for it, and managed to secure a rematch against Paul Gallen. Now, in the fight itself, the ref stopped it during the third round when Hodges was getting battered against the ropes by Gallen, and we got to know from an insider source that as soon as the both were stopped, without missing a beat, Hodges asked Gallen for a rematch, to which he replied, yeah. Now, according to the referee, in his eyes, a fighter was getting severely damaged, and he needed to stop the fight before something fatal occurred. But when you look over to Hodges, it's an entirely different story. According to him, he wasn't hurt in the slightest, and the fight should never have been stopped in the first place. Next up, how controversial was this fight? Well, to answer that question, we'll need to take a look at the fight itself. Upon closer inspection, you'll see that Hodges started the fight solid, as in the opening 75 seconds, he unleashed a barrage of hurt on Paul Gallen, and even managed to knock the icon down. Talk about getting a head start. However, it was Paul's tenacity and resilience that allowed him to secure a comeback and put some pressure on his rival before securing the win in the third round thanks to the stoppage by the ref. Now, looking back at the fight, regardless of how it turned out, the important thing to note is that we have a rematch between these two titans coming up, and it's going to be awesome. Even though we only got a very small taste of the action to come in this 3-round fight, we got to see a bit of what both fighters are capable of and how much power each of them yields. The rematch between the two will have 6 3-minute rounds, a longer period than this match, so we're sure to see much more action and explosiveness. The date for the rematch is yet to be set by the promotion. No limit on boxing. It'll be a clash between titans whenever it happens, and we're so ready for it. Hodges will be looking for revenge, considering how upset he was with the result of their first match. Coming up, will Paul Gallen be up for the task? Now, right off the bat, we need to consider the fact that Gallen is now 41 years old. That means he's nearing the end of his career, and this rematch with Hodges could potentially be the last fight of his career. That being said, every fighter wants to go out with a bang, and Gallen is no different. So we're sure he'll be looking to finish off his career in the flashiest way possible. Considering his performance in the previous matchup against Hodges, he seems to be in peak form and ready to rumble. They announced that the fight will be happening in Sydney, which is in Australia. One of the executives of No Limit Boxing, George Rose, had no hesitation in green-lighting the rematch, so that's good news for the fans. Fans are sure to be hyped for the rematch, considering the huge amount of action we got from the first one. It was a close fight, considering how Hodges had Gallen on his back foot at the start, but the way Gallen managed to come back in the fight and claw his way to victory was admirable at the very least, and sets up the third fight to be even more enigmatic. To see what happens, we'll just have to wait till the rematch takes place. God, the excitement is definitely on another level. This brings us to one sentence: may the best man win. Finally, who will win the rematch? Okay, this one is a little tough to answer. Both men are extremely skilled at their craft and know what they're doing, so to best the other, they'll have to bring out the beast within. That still brings us to the question, who has the best chance of winning? Now, we can't predict the future, but we can look at the facts and speculate. Let's take a look at Justin Hodges, the challenger in this scenario. The dude is the one who asked for the fight in the first place, so he seems to be confident in his abilities and believes he has what it takes to win. In the first fight, he was able to overcome Gallen very early in the match, and so things may be looking up for the man. He explosively starts off his fights, often catching his opponent off guard. Maybe if he does the same thing in this fight, he'll come out to welcome the win. Paul Gallen, on the other hand, was able to come back in their first fight and overcome Hodges, so that may point toward the fact that he has a lot of determination, which allows him to overcome situations even when the odds are severely stacked against him. He managed to come back and defeat Hodges early in the third round, so that goes to show that when Gallen gets serious, it's game over for the other dude. Regardless, we'll need to wait and watch the fight to see what's going to happen. Other news. First up, Tyson Fury is coming after Joshua Anthony, so this fight might be the dream matchup for fans of the sport, and the chances of it taking place are getting stronger by the second. Tyson even went so far as to troll Anthony Joshua on Twitter and talked about how he believed that Anthony Joshua was being cowardly in avoiding the fight. We don't have any way to prove whether Joshua is trying to dodge the fight or not, but we can say that if both men manage to agree, this will be a fight for the ages. This brings us to the question, if the fight happens, who wins? Well, we're not going to try and predict the exact outcome of the matchup, but we do know that heading into it, Fury will be the heavy favorite since he's undefeated in the ring and has 32 wins with no losses and 1 draw. Out of those 32 wins, 23 of those wins are from knockouts. That's an insane record to have. We know one thing for sure, when it does happen, it'll be a sold-out pay-per-view. Next up, Thailand boxers have crazy records. So in case some of you missed the memo, Thailand is producing some insanely skilled boxers, one of them being Sirimongkon Yamtwam. The man has an insane record of 44 wins and 1 loss. Think about that for a second. The dude is almost 50 and has fought in 42 bouts. If you average that throughout his life, it would mean that the guy has been fighting since he was 3, considering he's 45 right now. These types of fighters usually go unnoticed by the mainstream media. However, this guy was going too hard to be slept on. Now, usually when fighters get to this age, they're in the last few fights of their career. However, every time this guy fights, it feels like he's getting more and more into his prime. The man just might turn out to be the Zlatan Ibrahimovic of the boxing world. The man seems to be aging like fine wine. We only hope he can come to the biggest stage in the world and work his boxing magic surrounded by thousands. Athletes of this level are very hard to come by and deserve every bit of recognition they get. Finally, Eubank seems to think Ben is an easy fight. Chris Eubank Jr. seems to be pretty vocal about the fact that he does not consider Conor Benn to be much of a challenge and believes he'll be making short work of the fighter. Eubank doesn't even seem to be putting in much of an effort while training, which we believe might come back to hurt him when the matchup actually happens. The reason Eubank seems to be underestimating Conor seems to be because he believes he is older and is a bigger fighter. Therefore, Ben won't be able to take the pressure during the bout. Now, whether the fight actually goes that well for Eubank is to be seen, as the fight is a short while away. Whatever happens, we're sure it'll be entertaining to watch and a great pay-per-view. Be sure to tune in when it finally happens. That's a wrap for this video. Who do you think will win the rematch? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.